online at www.mybcsn.net and on the BCSN app available on Google Play and the Apple App Store.
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
Sugar Chateau Desserts is a specialty bakery located in the Charlotte, North Carolina metro area. We will create delicious and one-of-a-kind treats for any occasion. Sugar Chateau is currently shipping cakes in a jar, offering a variety of different flavors in a single-serve container that can help you celebrate in accordance with social distancing. Place your orders today by calling 803-526-7895 or visiting sugarchateaudesserts.com.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food? Like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisine.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique to spice up your closet with trendy, unique looks. We have fashionable and chic looks at very affordable prices. Velvet Boutique offers free shipping all year long on all orders. Shop online at www.melvetboutique.com. That's www.melvetboutique.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service with Slow Burn. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. It's more than a mobile lounge. It's an environment and an experience rich in history, luxury, and personality. An elegant extension of any celebration occasion. It's the perfect escape and meeting place, a space where you can relax or enjoy a shared passion. Have Slow Burn plan your next big event, or before you are planning to celebrate your win over your athletic rival, you can shop our collections at www.slowburnwaco.com.
But if they want to tab, I'ma do the dab, yeah.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is Carlos Brown, letting you know that we're on the move. You can now catch the Carlos Brown Show beginning this July on the Black College Sports Network each and every Saturday from 11 to 1 Eastern Time. That's 10 to 12 Central Time. Same time, new place. On Facebook at the Carlos Brown Show and Black College Sports Network. Online at www.mybcsn.net and on the BCSN app available on Google Play and the Apple App Store.
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
Sugar Chateau Desserts is a specialty bakery located in the Charlotte, North Carolina metro area. We will create delicious and one-of-a-kind treats for any occasion. Sugar Chateau is currently shipping cakes in a jar, offering a variety of different flavors in a single-serve container that can help you celebrate in accordance with social distancing. Place your orders today by calling 803-526-7895 or visiting sugarchateaudesserts.com.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell them mama hungry.
This is Brian.
Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won. Yeah, man. I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, yes.
This is Dr. Ville inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Welcome to episode 192 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast. The show that's covering the sporting HBCU diaspora and all things HBCU sports institutions, large and small. From the NAIA to the NCAA, we share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture and HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, along with my co-hosts, Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Yes, Mike Washington is back stateside. Check that out. We got Charles Bishop with
Hollywood, gonna say.
He got Charles with his shades on. They acting up already. We are filming from our home studios, sending the signal live to KCOH 1230 AM studios and around the world like these guys really are. With Texas Radio Hall of Famer Ralph Cooper in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. Charles, may I ask you why you have the shades on? I think I may know, but I need to officially make sure I'm understanding this.
Well, Doc, I think right now, I don't know, my season, my future looks pretty bright. I thought I'd put these shades on. I thought I still have some leftover dipping sauce for that 60-piece chicken. Yeah, you know. I've enjoyed this week. I got dipping sauce. I'm enjoying things.
And well deserved. Sundays we did have a smoke for you too, so we want to let you know. Even though that wasn't a classic trophy, the fact that you put a 60-piece up, we thought it was worthy of a smoke. So shout out to.
I'll take it.
With that, Mike, what about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing good. Au revoir. Merci beaucoup. Fresh off the French Riviera. Glad to be back. I saw some of the references that Mr. Charles was talking about with his Top Gun shades on. But you know, just remember, there's a new best in the West. You know,
it is.
They wear the jersey of Purdue A&M University. They coming on strong. I see two paths going, but I will have to eat crow a little bit on the Valley.
We're gonna ask you about that Valley. Yeah, we talked about that too on Sunday. So Valley, in a lot of ways, deserves a slow burn Waco.com cigar in terms of their trophy. That wasn't a trophy game, but they took away somebody's homecoming celebration along with Jackson State, which is just kind of epidemic at this point. It's interesting, but it's good to see you back, Mike. I see you learn some new French language as you're getting in there. Italian, and you just moving around.
Yeah.
Was it a good trip?
Oh, absolutely great. I mean, it was work related. I had one day to kind of check out the sites. Man, beautiful city Paris is. Lots of diversity, lots of culture there. So man, it was beautiful. But the flight's coming back. I think I had a delay at every stop. I got and I'm still a little bit, jet lagged, but all is well. I'm ready to get back into the saddle here. So I'm ready to talk some football because this is getting strong. This is what we talked about.
Yeah.
This is what we wait. We starting to see the contenders and separate them from the pretenders. Yeah. You're absolutely right.
We're
separating jump in here if I add some of your news of the day. Oh yeah, we're gonna separate it. First shake back to FAMU. 2 years almost since they've been there, and they're coming back to FAMU. We'll have Will Packer. He's a frat brother, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Will be there as they dedicate an amphitheater that he helped with his donations. Big time. It's a lot going on. But let me go to you, Charles. What type of news do you have on the docket today in the HBCU world?
Yeah, as always, let's start off with our SWAC weekly honors. The SWAC named Texas Southern's Andrew Body, Florida A&M's Isaiah Land, and Jose Romo Martinez, along with Jackson State Shador Sanders as his SWAC football players of the week for their outstanding performances. Let's take a look at Andrew Body. He goes 28 of 35, 338 yards, and also rushed for 85 yards as he set up the game-winning touchdown as on Texas Southern's final drive as they beat Southern 35-31 for the first time since 2010 and only the second time since 1996. Shout out to Andrew Body. Isaiah Land, he made Rattler history in a dominating performance in which he recorded 5 sacks. That is second most in a single game in the FCS this season. His 5 sacks in the contest makes him currently ranked as the nation's leader in sacks with 2 sacks per game. Romo Martinez, he goes 3 or 4 today, including a big 51-yard for Florida A&M in their 30-7 win over South Carolina State. And the newcomer of the week is Shador Sanders. He's propelled Jackson State to a 61-15 win over Alabama A&M. The freshman passed for 249 yards and 4 touchdowns, and also added a little ta-ta-ta in the end zone with his nice 29-yard run. So big game for Shador Sanders.
No doubt about it. I like that little dance. I'm going to say I enjoyed it. He showed up. That sound looks like you enjoyed it too, Charles.
Little two-step action. Gotta love it.
Mike, did you see any of the replays of the A&M Jackson State?
Yeah, I saw it a day late.
I don't know what you want to call it.
I was like, he deserved to do that, but man, I was just I was just so in awe at that that margin of victory. It was crazy. That back in the day, we used to have this term when we were pledging. Not that Alpha Phi Alpha, let me reiterate, Alpha Phi Alpha is a non-hazing organization, professional organization dedicated to service. But we used to have this term called AWFOC. And that's what I saw. There was a swooping free on behalf of Jackson State.
It was free of charge. Oh, man,
free of charge. And you can throw in all the expletives you want. That was just crazy. So I caught everything after the fact, but I did see the dance, and yeah, he kind of took after the old man there a little bit. So little tootsie toot, whatever. So it was their moment. Shame on the Alabama A&M for planning them for that. Was that the Bulldogs' homecoming?
I heard it was, but it kind of turned into a homegoing processional real fast. So
that was like a homegoing ceremony.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But I think with this new SWAC, we're gonna have to get out of that mindset that you're just gonna be able to pick who you want for your homecoming. It was either that or you talking about FAMU, and you talking about arguably the 2 best defenses in the conference. So I'm not sure it's gonna get much better this weekend. And if that's the case, it wouldn't have mattered where you put the homecoming. You had the same thing with Alcorn Grambling. It gets to the point you just can't be that selective in homecoming. You just need to be prepared to strap it up and play some good football. With that being said, Mike, you got some MEAC players of the week?
Absolutely. MEAC football honors. Howard University quarterback Quentin Williams was named the MEAC football offensive player of the week, presented by Coca-Cola, of course. Delaware State defensive back Juwan Granger was named defensive player of the week, while Delaware State running back Sivion Wilkerson was named rookie of the week. Picking up the specialist of the week honors was Howard's Faraji Woodson. Now going back to Quentin Williams, quarterback, 6'4", recorded his second 300-yard game of the season and leading the Bisons to a 27-0 victory over the Morgan State Bears in their MEAC openers. He was 19 of 32 for 337 yards and a couple of TDs, including a program record 97-yard bomb to Antoine Murray in the third quarter. Granger, Juwan Granger that is, was all over the field in the Hornets' win over Virginia University of Lynchburg, racking up 4 tackles, all solo, an interception, 2 sacks, forced fumble, Big Mac, fries, shake, whatever goes with it. And Vivian Wilkerson, who is the leading rushing back in the MEAC, all 5'9" of him, 205 pound freshman, topped the 100-yard rushing mark for the second week in a row, racking up 101 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a blowout win over Virginia University of Lynchburg. The MEAC's leading rusher, of course. Did I mention? Oh, yeah, he's the MEAC's leading rusher. He's averaging over 7 yards per carry. So kudos to him. And then, of course, Faraji Woodson, he connected on 2 field goals. So 35 and 36 yards. He was perfect. 3 for 3 on point after attempts, or PATs as they're affectionately known, to account for 9 points in the Bison's shutout win over Morgan State. So there is.
That got ugly on Friday night.
It got ugly fast, yeah.
Well, it wasn't that fast, but it got ugly on Friday night with the shutout. Every time it looked like Morgan State was going to try to get something going, big play, it got called back in penalty. One of them was like 3 or 4 penalties when they got first down, big plays on the same drive. Ooh. And then, like you said, in the second half, it got ugly, really ugly. With that being said, let me shout out Sarah Beverly, Franklin Nelson, Chuck Hunt, always in the house. Ricky Burton says, good evening. Steve Gaithers says, Charles smoking on that Bulldog pack. Oh, wow. Jamie O. Walker says, hello all. Dwight Moore, Willie Alex Hine in the building. Yes, read my new piece on Valley on HBCU game day. Yeah,
good read.
Valley
yeah.
Love.
Great
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
AD Drew, Michael Washington, Valley with the question mark. They control their own destiny. Only team other than Jackson State that control their own destiny in the East over there. Who would have thought that after week 5? Man, it's getting good. Roosevelt Huggins in the house says, man, Charles Bishop, I don't know you anymore. T. Foster, Lonnie Shaw. People like you better when you Charles.
Yeah, when it comes to prime time, ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.
It sounds like it. Aggie Pride, Amos Fawcett. They got a big one this weekend, Kennesaw.
Yeah,
we'll get Kennesaw State. We'll probably talk about that on Thursday. But yeah, that's a big game. They get a chance to really make their first statement in the Big South. Kind of got caught up this weekend, but they got it done. That's what counts to win. Jalen Riley, Willie Alex Hine, what we say, Stephen A. Miller. Shout out to these individuals. Shout out some more. Carl Edmond in the house. Let me go back to you, Charles. What else do you have on the palette in terms of HBCU news?
Let me give him a special shout out to Rob J, who's been a long time play-by-play voice for Jackson State, but got word today that he will be inducted into the Jackson State Sports Hall of Fame, the 2021, one of the 2021 inductees. So he's an individual that I've watched for a tremendous number of years, especially growing up watching him on Sports Journal and his work at WLBT as well as WJSU TV. But definitely want to send a shout out to Rob J on his honor, which he was bestowed today.
Congratulations, Rob J. That's a big one, big one. Mike, let me go back to you and see what other news you have before we take this break.
Yeah, so I know we're talking about football, talk about golf. J.R. Smith came up solid in his golf debut for North Carolina A&T. And this
former NBA player, J.R. Smith. That's nice.
Yes.
Nice.
NBA
digging in the chairs. I see you.
Smith. So he made his college debut for the men's golf team on Monday at a par 71 on the 68 or 6,867 yard Alamance Country Club golf course. Smith's first round included 2 birdies, 6 pars. His second round card had 1 birdie and 10 pars. And Smith shot a first round 12 over 83 before shooting a second round 7 over 78 to finish the day 19 over 161. Smith's first collegiate birdie occurred on the par 4 460 yard number 7. 460 yards. Man, Charles, I think you'd have to make that shot. I don't make that shot. I'm still a little bit rusty. So he then birdied the par 382 yard 9th. His lone second round birdie came on the 464 yard par 6. par 5-6. So as a team, the Aggies are in 11th place with an 18 over 586. Elon, the tournament host, is in first place. So kudos to J.R. Smith on his debut. There was a lot of numbers, but for those of you that play golf, to get a couple of birdies in, to get that many pars in on a difficult and very long course is not easy. So congratulations, hats off to former NBA star J.R. Smith in his golf debut with the North Carolina A&T Aggies.
Well, we're going to ask our resident golfer on the show, Professor Bishop, what were your thoughts on his first golf outing?
Yeah, I mean, first golf outing. I mean, it was what a freshman does on their first golf outing. You know, they try to mix in some pars. Normally, you kind of see it's tough to get those birdies falling and whatnot. But as they get more and more comfortable playing that competition golf on the college level, you start to see them kind of settle down and start putting more balls on the fairway. So I think between the 2 days, I think he found himself off the fairway a little bit. In fact, I think it was the second day. He got stung by some hornets as he was off the fairway a little bit. So, but it happens. He played like a freshman golfer, but it's going to get better. It's going to get better. I mean, the big thing is he's bringing notoriety to the game, and it's a African American bringing notoriety to golf. So I think that's just huge. J.R. Smith picking up the game, especially at this age after having a professional career and going out there and playing for an HBCU. That's huge.
Absolutely.
Great points made there. You talking about he got stung traveling off the course a little bit. I wonder if that was one of those Delaware State Hornets or Alabama State Hornets. Speaking of the Hornets, they have a big game. They have a big game this week in Jackson State. Will they be able to bring the sting or will they get stung? Okay, let's go to this break. Dr. Ville's inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop back in the building. We come back with the poll rankings, week 6. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique to spice up your closet with trendy, unique looks. We have fashionable and chic looks at very affordable prices. Velvet Boutique offers free shipping all year long on all orders. Shop online at www.melvetboutique.com. That's www.melvetboutique.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna love, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, the professors back in the building. It was midterms last week, Charles, and so on Sunday, we gave up some midterm grades. So we're going to see what the poll ranking does to some of these midterm grades. And when we break down the games in the last segment, I'll ask you all to maybe do some of your own midterm grades as you professors, your doors, like I did in terms of the dean's door. Sunday, they were able to go get all those grades. Some people need to make sure they put in some study time. It wasn't looking too good for some. Other folks, man, they leading with the curve. So it's not all negative, some positive there. With that being said, let's get into these poll rankings, week number 6. in the mid-major poll, if you would, let's start the level set. Those teams at the top are right there at the top. All we're going to see essentially at the end of the year, we'll see who finds a way to crown themselves at the top. But we pretty much know what's going on. There's maybe a little question about SIAC, but it looks like everything is done in the northern division of the CIAA and the southern division of the CIAA. Bit of interest. But let's get into the top 10. As we get into the top 10, let's start dropping out. This week was Allen Yellow Jackets, 3-3 on the season. A couple of teams receiving votes, including the Allen Yellow Jackets, along with Kentucky State Thoroughbreds, got a big win this week. Virginia Union Panthers also won, put themselves in shouting distance of the top 10, which means at number 10, you have Bluefield State. Big Blue continue to win. Just surprising first season out. Amazing start, 3-1, 15 points. Staying at 10, though. At number 9, jumping into the poll this week, as Allen dropped out, Benedict Tigers jump in 3-3, 0-2. Big upset win for them as they continue to get it done. Surprising some teams. Big win over Miles. Golden Bears really shocked a lot of folks. That east of the SIAC, my goodness. At number 8, Shaw's Bears are 3-3, 2-1, 20 points. Remain at number 8, bringing us to number 7. Lane Dragons, they fall 2 spots after a tough loss this week, 4-2, 1-1. They went over and visited the East, and you know what they do in the East. It seems like they just win right now. At number 6, Fort Valley State Wildcats. They move up a spot, talking about what's going on in the Eastern Division at SIC. They're 4-2, 2-0 on the season, 51 points. So that does it for the bottom 6. Let's get into the top 5. In terms of the top 5, you have Fayetteville State Broncos, 4-1, 3-0. They jump into the top 5, as moving up 1 spot. The rest of the teams are the same. So we have number 4, Albany State Golden Rams, 5-1, 2-0, 76 points. Itching a little closer. Savannah State got back to winning at 5-1, 3-0, 78 points, setting up, which will be an interesting one in a couple of weeks, Savannah State and Albany State. But at number 2, Bowie State Bulldogs with the big win, shutting up everybody that thought Shawan was going to get it done. They made sure that they knew they weren't quite ready to give up the top of the hill as they pushed Shawan back down that hill, if you would, a little bit for a little while at least. 5-1, 3-0, 4 first place votes, still just outside of the top team, which is Langston Lions. 5-0, 4-0 in terms of season, 6 first place votes, 93 points, giving us the top 5. Let me go to you first, Charles Bishop. What do you think of the mid-major top 10 poll rankings in week number 6?
Well, we got some shakeup there, and what the thing that jumps out at me is, boy, Savannah State and Bowie State, they're eating up those first place votes. They're right there on Lane. I'm sorry, Langston, when you take a look at it. But you had some surprises, I think, this past week. One of the ones that I took special note of, Dr. Cavil, is Kentucky State receiving votes. I've never seen almost 500 yards of rushing. I think they had 472 yards of rushing, and I think it was 10 different players. I think if the first 100 people showed up, they got a carry in that game. So they had 10 different people rush for some yards in that game. But just some shakeup going on in the SIAC that I didn't see this past week. Benedict, that's a huge win over Miles to me. You take a look at that. Like I said, Kentucky State and Lane, I thought was one of the hotter teams going in the SIC, and I wanted to kind of see what they were going to be doing moving up. But 472 yards rushing, ain't nothing you can do with that but take that L. So it is what it is on that. But just some good action this past week. Nice little shake up over there in the mid-major polls, and shout out to Morehouse getting that first win. Didn't see that coming over Tuskegee.
Yeah, that was a big one. Big weekend in Alabama. Not all going their way, but a big weekend. Can you deposit those L's in the bank, Charles?
You better. you ain't got a choice. You can't walk around with them in your pocket.
With that said, Professor Washington, what are your thoughts in terms of the mid-major top 10, week number 6?
No, I got to say that SIAC East, man, those 4 teams, man, woo. I still think Savannah State is the top team. I'm not sold on Langston just yet as a top team. I look at strength of schedule. Savannah State's looking really strong. But you could argue I guess you could argue anyway at this point. I think you have the right 5 up there without question. Fort Valley State is looking strong despite an earlier setback, loss they had. They came back looking strong, with a solid win over Central State. So, we'll see. But that East in the SIAC, woo, man. I thought Lane.
Can we?
I thought Lane would be a little bit stronger than they've proven to be. So that's surprising as well.
Points well taken there, as you broke that down. Is it possible, like in 2022, early part of the season non-conference, can we get like a Savannah State, Bowie State matchup, Albany State, Fayetteville State matchup? I mean, is that possible? If I'm asking too much?
Those would be fun games. Those would be fun games. I need to see Bowie State against Savannah State. That would be a real good one. Oh man.
Yeah, we just get a 2 year.
Yeah, that defense is legit. Like I know they can score points, but they showed me something against Juwan this past week. That was real.
Can we get like a 2 year, series home and away between those? So we get one played in the SIAC territory the first year, and then the other one played in CIAA territory. We get some of those top teams in those divisions, if you would, and see what comes out. Well, who knows? Maybe we see it in the playoffs this year because both teams are making that run. We'll see what it looks like. With that being said, let's get into this major division. Major division, as we look at the top 10, there were some changes. 2 teams dropping the top 10. Everybody wants to know, how far does Alabama A&M Bulldogs fall? Do they fall out of the top 5? Do they fall out of the top 10? Well, let's see. The 2 teams dropping out this week were Grambling State Tigers and Southern Jaguars, 2-4 and 2-3 respectively. This early in the season, who would have thought that your top 10 poll would be out a Louisiana school? Boy, I tell you, and really without either one of them. Wow. At number 10, well, let me say receiving votes is Hampton Pirates, as you can see. Southern Jaguars still are receiving some votes. Top 10, Tennessee State Tigers, 2-3. They did not play last week, but they stay in the poll at number 10. At number 9, debuting is Delaware State Hornets, 3-3 on the season. They snuck up and had a couple of wins in a row, getting it done. 19 points, not ranked previously, so they jump in the poll. At number 8, Alabama A&M Bulldogs, they fall all the way from number 1. They stay in the top 10, but outside of the top 5, 3-2, 1-2, 25 points as they fall from that number 1 a couple of weeks ago after the loss to Grambling, fall for number 3. So 5 spots as they come tumbling down. Their neighbor, though, number 7, Alabama State Hornets, 3-2. Big win over the Western Division that everybody was talking about. They get it done against Arkansas Pine Bluff in terms of 3-2, 2-1, 43 points. Not ranked last week. At number 6, you have Auburn State Braves, 3-2, 2-0, 57 points, moving up 1 spot. Let's get into the top 5 where it really gets interesting. You have number 5, North Carolina A&T State Aggies. They jump into the top 5 after a close victory. They do get it done, winning strong early, but had to hold on, 3-2, 2-0, 58 points, moving up 1 spot. And number 4, Norfolk State Spartans did not play this week, 3-2, but they hold on to the 4th spot, 6 net points. At number 3, Florida A&M Rattlers, 3-2, 2-1, 97. They move up 2 spots, I should say, after their near second shutout. They have played like 6-7 straight quarters without the team scoring, holding teams to less than a touchdown in multiple games. We see now that opening weekend game between Jackson State and FAMU that featured 2 tough defenses. It wasn't that the offenses were that bad. We finding out quickly that those defenses were just that strong. And every week, that loss, if you want to look at it, way to Jackson State just becomes that strong because we're seeing how strong Jackson State is. What brings us to number 2? Prairie View A&M Panthers quietly moving up the charts. They stay at number 2, solidifying. They have a big test this week as they hit the road for their longest trip in the conference now, going to Daytona Beach. 4-1, 3-0. Yes, the Bethune-Cookman is 0-6, but it'll be interesting to see what that looks like for first place votes, because now not only they're chasing wins, now they're chasing with Jackson State to make sure they can maybe stay undefeated to see who's going to host that championship game. And then you got these things, you looking at playoff spot, all these things are interesting to see what's going on, poll ranks and things of that nature. So fascinating as things go forward. 109 points. Bring us the number one. Jackson State Tigers shouldn't surprise anyone. Second consecutive week, 4-1, 2-0, 8 first place votes. They make a statement as they hold on to that number one voting place, 114 points. Let me go to you, Mike. What's your thoughts on the top 10 poll rankings for the major division?
No, first of all, Alabama A&M should have fell out of the top 5. You could use the argument if it's even close. So yes, they fell out of top 5. Remember at the beginning of the season, you asked us, Dr. Cavil, our top 3 in each side. So how does that shake out now? Southern falling out, Alabama A&M getting in their homecoming. I mean, are the top 3 in each coming into the season? Are the top 3 still the top 3? Prairie View at best was picked at number 3 or 4 in the West at best by most prognosticators, even the SWAC. And now look, they're number 1 in the West. And then Jackson State was picked number 2, number 3. Most people were saying Alabama A&M or FAMU. So it's amazing. We come mid-season, and now we see where who's rising. Is the cream de la cream is really rising. So that's what stands out to me at mid-season. I agree with your poll. There's for once I have no argument against your poll here at least in the year our Lord, middle of the season.
Thank you. Midterm grades, you checked out right, man. You audited the class very well. I will say this, there was one guy, Professor Bishop, that told everybody he's seen something. He's been around practice. He tried to tell everybody. We like, nah, you just a fan. He said, well, hold up, I can analyze this stuff too. So credit, but before I let his shine that much, his head is getting a little bright. He already told you about the shades. What are your thoughts on the top 10?
The top 10, the first one that jumps out at me is I know Grambling has a head-to-head win over Tennessee State, and Grambling dropped out, but Tennessee State is sitting there at number 10. But I'd make an argument for Mississippi Valley. They're a 2-win team too, so I'd make an argument for the Valley to jump into the polls. But you have a very intriguing matchup, I think, this weekend with Jackson State and Alabama State, number 7 versus number 1. Alabama State has beaten Jackson State 5 out of the last 6 times they played each other. They played them very, very hard. This weekend will be no different. And Jackson State is going to have to move on beyond Alabama A&M. It was a good win. It was what it was, but it's Tuesday. You got to turn the page, Jackson State fan, and focus your energies towards Alabama State, because I think that's going to be a really good game. Miles Crowley is showed himself to be a very good quarterback last week, going 20 of 28 for almost 300 yards against UAPB. Alcorn and Mississippi Valley. That game turns into something that I think might be very, very interesting this weekend. With Valley with a little 2-game win streak and feeling pretty confident with Alcorn coming in to Itta-Bena. So keep an eye out for that this weekend.
Is that game in Itta-Bena?
That game is in Itta-Bena. Yes, it is.
Oh, yep. That is a watch out game. That's another data point.
Yeah, and from 5, 4, 3, 2, I can't disagree with any of those teams. North Carolina State, North Carolina A&T, they struggled a little bit with North Alabama. Wasn't expecting that. They did pull it on out, but they should not have fought like that, I believe, with an 0-5 team. So,
yep,
I agree with that too. I know they tried to lay some people's concerns about it, but the point is they got the W. They get a chance to make a real statement this weekend. They can really put the eyeballs where they're supposed to be, regardless of what they did. They have a chance to make the statement in regards to the reason that they at least have told everybody they made the move. So we'll see what that looks like. And your points are well taken in both of you all in terms of top poll rankings. I like what you said about number 10 in terms of Tennessee State versus Mississippi Valley State. Mississippi Valley State does have 2 Division I FCS wins, while Tennessee State only has 1, in addition to the loss. Now you have to factor in that you have 4 losses for Mississippi Valley, which is a little factor in there. But in terms of receiving some, maybe they should get some recognitions. We'll see what's outside of that. I didn't put them in the receiving votes, but to your point, they are right behind Southern Jaguars. So they are looking in there. They have a chance to make a major statement at home against Alcorn, which is doing what a championship team does, winning games, but they're not impressive as they were a couple of years ago. It doesn't mean they can't turn it on at the right time, but right now it does look like that Valley may have a chance to make a run of it. And it'll be interesting to see what happens this weekend.
It would be really interesting if next week's polls comes out with a Texas Southern win and a Valley win, who can jump into that 10-9 next week. That'll be real interesting to see Texas Southern and Mississippi Valley ranked somewhere in the polls. That's fascinating.
Is Charles showing his Valley?
Let's pump the brakes.
Is Charles showing his hands in terms of his pick?
I know, right?
Slow your roll.
Pump the brakes, Mike.
You're right.
Breathe.
Woosah. Well, this is Dr. Bill inside the HBCU. They're in my ear telling me we need to take a break. Dr. Bill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. You see the guys, they back up, they excited, going back and forth. Well, the second half of the show, we're going to break down the matchups so they really get in here. We'll sneak in with CIAA mid-major division game of the week, and then we'll get into the SIAC mid-major game of the week. Stick with us for the second half of the show.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service with Slow Burn. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge featuring a meticulous curated collection of premium cigars. It's more than a mobile lounge. It's an environment and an experience rich in history, luxury, and personality. An elegant extension of any celebration occasion. It's the perfect escape and meeting place, a space where you can relax or enjoy a shared passion. Have Slow Burn plan your next big event, or before you are planning to celebrate your win over your athletic rival, you can shop our collections at www.slowburnwaco.com.
But if they want to tab, I'ma do the dab, yeah.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. I see the comments out there. Now, I like the comments. But let me get on with some of these Aggie folks out here. Now, I know y'all got these Aggie glasses on here and y'all pride and y'all think y'all did something because y'all moved to that sorry ass Big South. Yeah, I said it. Let's not get all excited and get twisted. Now, you have a statement you want to make. You have a chance to make a statement this weekend, and I want you to open your mouth if you don't get it done and don't run and tuck your tie. Now, y'all talking about Prairie View and they lost to the Catholic school. Yeah, you lost to a non-Catholic school, Furman. I don't see them in the top 25 with all that noise you're talking out there, top 15. So make sure you do your homework, because one thing about the team, I'm going to be straight on the numbers. I can make an argument for all of the stuff. So y'all need to get it straight in terms of what y'all talking about, because some of y'all faking the funk out there and feeling a little bit head about yourself, especially out these losses. Y'all need to stack your chips and get it won. Ain't nobody worried about the Duke. You ain't the only team out there playing the FBS program, and don't nobody care about no Duke. Duke is sorry as hell. I don't care if they're Power 5 or not. You act like you did something because you played a half with Duke. Sorry ass team. Now let's get it straight. Let's get in here talking about what's going on. That's enough of that. Let's get back into it. CIAA mid-major division game of the week. Yeah, I said that. Raleigh, North Carolina, George Williams Athletic Complex, CIAA, Saturday, October 9th, 12 p.m. High noon, they get it done. Johnson C. Smith Golden Bulls, 0-5, 0-3. At number 5, Fayetteville State Broncos, 4-1, 3-0. Johnson C. Smith, the Golden Bulls. Let me go to you, Charles. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, going to be too much Kari Lane in this one. I think that'll be one that it's just going to be too difficult to stop that attack, if you will. You got Darnell Walker, Donshell Jetton. They ran for 184 yards this past weekend, so I don't see any change. I don't see Johnson C. Smith being able to stop this offensive attack. It should be a very good win for Fayetteville.
Let me shift to you, Mike. And what's your thoughts on this top 5 Fayetteville State taking on a winless Johnson C. Smith? I mean, will Johnson C. Smith even score in this matchup? I had to ask the
question. So we're talking about Fayetteville State, who's on that part of the division for the last 3 or 4 years, against Johnson C. Smith, who's 0-5 and 0-3 and 0 million. I'm gonna pick Fayetteville State on that one. Maybe State pulls in the second, third string. You know, maybe Johnson C. Smith gets a field goal. But other than that, this is pretty much a straightforward win for Fayetteville State. They'll continue to own that side of the CIAA. So we'll see.
Well, this is the big matchup.
I'm here. You know.
Well, let's get into the real good matchup. We got a top 10 matchup that's really going to be interesting to me. It's number 3 Albany State Golden Rams, 5-1, 2-0 in the conference play. At number 9 Benedict Tigers, 3-3, 0-2, coming off the big matchup against Miles Golden Bears. It is in Columbia, South Carolina, Charlie W. Johnson Stadium, SIAC, Saturday, October 16th, 1 o'clock. I'm intrigued about this matchup. I'm going to stay with you, Mike. What are your thoughts on this one?
Now this is the one that has me intrigued. So if you look at it, and then if you look at it, where does Albany State? I keep want to say that just right. Where do they sit? I'm gonna pick Albany State, number 1, because of their offense. I forget how many yards per game, but they're number 3 in the, at least to me, the number 2 or number 3 top team in the SIAC. I don't know. I don't see too many teams that can stop them. I'm going to go with them over Benedict, even though Benedict has a quality win over Lane. I'm going to go with Albany State in this one.
Good point. Good point. Charles, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
I think the question is, which Benedict do I get? Do I get this Benedict that knocked off a tough Miles, or do I get the other Benedict that had a disappointing loss out there? So, you got to defend home turf, but this Albany State team is tough, and you just never know what the sauce is that they're going to give you to get the victory. They can throw the ball well. They run the ball very well, very balanced attack. And then the defense gets after you. 7 sacks this past week against Edward Water. So I think this is going to be a tough one for Benedict. I'm going to go with Albany on this one on the road.
Should be interesting. I like this top 10 matchup. SIAC is front and center this week with their top 10 mid-major matchup. It'll be fascinating to see what's going on here. With that being said, we're going to take our last break. This is Dr. Bill inside HBCU Sports Lab, and we'll be back with the major division where we'll talk about the MEAC game of the week and the SWAC game of the week. Should be interesting to see what's going on there. Stick with us for our last quarter of the show.
This is Carlos Brown, letting you know that we're on the move. You can now catch the Carlos Brown Show beginning this July on the Black College Sports Network each and every Saturday from 11 to 1 Eastern Time. That's 10 to 12 Central Time. Same time, new place. On Facebook at the Carlos Brown Show and Black College Sports Network. Online at www.mybcsn.net and on the BCSN app available on Google Play and the Apple App Store.
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival. This is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
Compress the analytic data with your hip-hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna law, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Bill with Inside HBCU Sports Lab. Let's get into the MEAC game of the week. Morgan State still struggling big time against Howard. Couldn't get it done. They're 0-5, 0-1. They have their second game in the conference, and they take on South Carolina State Bulldogs, the predicted team to win the MEAC. They've struggled quite a bit in terms of their non-conference schedule. They did have the one win against Bethune-Cookman. But it'd be interesting to see, can South Carolina State at least get off on the right foot, or will Morgan State make a statement? They got to go on the road to do it. It's in Orangeburg, South Carolina, Oliver C. Dawson Stadium. 2:30 game. It is on ESPN3. In terms of this game matchup, sticking with you, Charles, what are your thoughts in terms of this MEAC game?
You know, I'm not sure. I keep waiting on South Carolina State to put their foot on the gas and do what they do, and I haven't seen it yet. Defensively, Jacoby Durant is doing what he's been expected to do. I think he'll be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year in the MEAC. But when you take a look at Corey Fields, he's been inconsistent, and I've been waiting on this Corey Fields to Shaq Davis connection. I know Shaq has been banged up a little bit, but I don't know what South Carolina State team I'm going to get from week to week. I know Florida A&M has a tremendous defense, but that score honestly was shocking to see this past weekend with FAMU and South Carolina State. I really expected a better showing from the Bulldogs. That being said, Morgan State just hasn't shown me anything, so I'm expecting South Carolina State to hold serve.
Mike Washington, what are your thoughts?
I concur because scoring offense, Morgan State's number 6. Scoring defense, not total offense, Morgan State, 224 yards averaging per game. South Carolina State, even though their performance is a little up and down, they're somewhere at 365 yards per game. This game's in South Carolina. Total defense, Morgan State is allowing 446 yards per game. So the odds and the numbers tell me that this is in favor of South Carolina State. You want to see them come out with a solid performance. It is a home game, so I expect South Carolina State to come out on top. Morgan State's 0-5, 0-3. They have not been able to pull together any kind of solid performance. There have been some that say that they have a strong team. I just have not seen it lit. So my hat tips in favor of South Carolina State.
Let's get into the SWAC game of the week. It features the top 10 matchup in Jackson, Mississippi, homecoming Mississippi Veterans Memorial Stadium. It is 2:00 ESPN Plus game. Number 7, Alabama State Hornets, 2-1. They got a big win last week. They've been kind of playing up and down, so not sure what you're going to get, but they got a chance to make a huge statement. It is a division game. They are 2-1. They can't afford another loss, but they can actually come in and tie for first place and have the head-to-head tiebreaker, at least against Alabama State. They do have the loss to FAMU, but maybe all that won't even matter as you have the number 1 Jackson State Tigers 4-1, 2-0. Let me go to you, Mike. What are your thoughts in terms of this game? Top 10 matchup.
So, yes. Whose homecoming is it? I'm sorry.
Diallo.
It's in Jackson, Mississippi.
I'm sorry. It's who's homecoming? That's a rhetorical question.
Diallo.
So Alabama State, they're averaging 17 points per game. Jackson State's averaging about twice that much more per game. You got homecoming, you got Jackson State coming off a big win. You could argue, is this going to be kind of a potential letdown for Jackson State coming off this big, I don't even want to call it emotional big win. But you got the number 2 defense in the SWAC. Let's not forget Jackson State. They're playing defense. They're what they're allowing their opponents. Average.
12.6. Yeah.
What is it? How many points per game?
Going into the Alabama A&M game, it was 12.6 points per game.
Yeah, I got 13 somewhere, so round it up.
Yeah.
So you got pretty much one of the top defenses in the SWAC against Alabama State, who, even though you could argue, they have a solid running back, I just think that this is Jackson State's game to lose. I don't see any letdown. I think Coach Prime and the team will have this team ready to go. That defense will be revved up. So we'll see. But I think I call it.
With that being said, let me go to you.
My hat tips in favor, definitely big time favor of Jackson State.
Charles, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
Still very much a very intriguing matchup. Like I said, Alabama State has beaten Jackson State 5 out of the last 6 times. And I think the last couple times, at least, they've come into Jackson and they've come in and gotten a victory. So really, it almost kind of negated the home field advantage sort of deal. But as we all know, this is a different Jackson State team. But this is a tough Alabama State team. Miles Crowley played tremendous last week against UAPB. They have a 2-headed monster in Ja'Cory Merritt and Ezra Gray in terms of running backs. And they have a really good receiver, a really big play receiver in Jeremiah Hickson. That being said, the formula to victory for Jackson State has been simple all season: stop the run and make you one-dimensional. And they have been able to do that thus far. So they'll be tested very well this week with Ja'Cory Merritt and Ezra Gray. But, this defense, it is reminiscent of some of the better defenses that I've ever seen at Jackson State, taking me all the way back to 1999, 1996. Even whispers of that 1987 Jackson State team that really flies after the quarterback. 30 sacks through 5 games of the season thus far. So I think, again, the formula will be simple. Stop Ezra Gray, stop Ja'Cory Merritt, and try to make Alabama State one-dimensional. And that's when those edge rushers, Niles Gaddy and James Houston, can fly off the edge. And then, of course, they bring pressure up the middle with Cornelius Miller and those guys. So it's going to be tough sledding for Alabama State, but I think Jackson State is able to get the win.
Man, he didn't win in the history book, Mike. He didn't went back and looked at the Ghost Jackson pad. It's a serious defense when he got to go down there in memory lane talking about.
They're waking up at those now.
Whispers of that 80. I was like, wow.
I mean,
okay, I got it.
I mean, he went real deep. I'm serious. But I'm like, if you can stop Gary Quarles, you can stop a lot of other rushing backs. Yeah, I didn't have to go that deep personally, but he went Ghost of Alabama State pass. 5 years straight, it won't be 6.
Oh, wow. So tune into us Thursday as we get into HBCU. Don't have classic games of the week, so we're going to take homecoming games. So we'll have HBCU mid-major homecoming game of the week. That will feature Clark Atlanta Panthers after their big win. They travel to number 3 Savannah State. Be interesting to see what that looks like. Then we'll take a picture and come back and let people know a little bit about Langston, the #1 team in the poll ranking, at least according to Cavil's mid-major poll ranking. They take on Texas Wesleyan Rams, 4-1, both in terms of overall in the conference. So this is the first test that you talk about, Charles and Mike. We'll see what they can get done. Then you have, obviously, in terms of the major division, no major division classic this week. So we're going to travel to homecoming, and we're going to look at that homecoming in Grambling. Eddie G. Robinson, Texas Southern with the big win. Grambling State, can they make it to get Southern and Grambling the same year? It'd be interesting to see. You talk about a statement and maybe trying to itch in the top 10. Or fascinating to see that. Will Grambling bring Texas Southern back to earth? And the independent game of the week, if you look at it in terms of the major division, will feature #6 North Carolina A&T State Aggies in terms of the HBCU poll ranking. #5, I should say, 3-2, 2-0 at Kennesaw State. That's a top 25 team, top 15 to be exact, at least according to the NCAA FCS poll rankings from the coaches. 4-1 in terms of the Big South team. 4 o'clock ESPN Plus game. It'll be interesting as we break that down. Another one I have my eye on that's just interesting to me to kind of see crossover. Have in Nashville, you have Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles, 2-4, 4-1, taking on a number 10 team, Tennessee State Tigers team, 2-3 and 0-1. What's fascinating to me is not much in terms of the matchup, but this is the same team, Tennessee Tech team, that took on North Carolina last week. I want to kind of see what does the matchups look like in terms of those two HBCUs, especially a week from each other. It gives us a chance to really give some inclination of where Tennessee State is, maybe where North Carolina Central is. So I'm fascinated about that matchup. So stick with us next week in Tuesday, I should say. I mean, this upcoming Thursday, excuse me, and let me know your thoughts on that. So I want to say thank you for listening to Inside HBCU Sports Lab. Shout out to all the lab lecturers out there checking us out. What you got?
Real quick, and I wanted to make sure I got this out there, that I wanted to get out the games that will be on ESPN this weekend, and that's definitely going to be Florida A&M and Alabama A&M, Southern Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Jackson State, and Alabama State will all be on the ESPN platforms this weekend.
No, all of them will be good ones to watch.
Or at least those are the SWAC ones. I'll put it that way. Those are the SWAC ones. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are a couple of other ones out there. I told you about A&T. They will be on ESPN. We have a couple other ones in the terms of the MEAC, a couple of games, including that South Carolina State game against Morgan to be on ESPN. So plenty of HBCU games to watch so you can really see games and get a chance to see what teams are doing in their matchup as you go and check out your team. Make sure you're masking up. We'll have our selections this week as well. We'll get back to that this week. Thank you for listening to Inside HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Shout out to all those followers out there, including our Aggies. Come on back. I hope I didn't hurt your feelings. Some of y'all seem like y'all crying out there. You know we love you. Just telling you like it is. This is Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. So we hope you enjoyed the dialogue. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. Check us out on 9 o'clock on Sunday morning before you head to church as we talk about the matchups that weekend that just take place. I also want to sneak this in terms of the business side. I'm fascinated about that OVC Southland Conference Alliance in terms of scheduling. It's going to be interesting to see what that final alliance is. You know, both teams have 16, so you can see why they do it, but you're talking about traveling. It's going to be very intriguing. One of the things I'm talking about is if you have 5 games and you're getting back to your general 8-game conference, it'd be easy just to split it up and do a 3-3 2-year matchup where you have 3 of your teams from the OVC playing Southland teams, and then reverse it the following year in terms of home and the road. And so you split those up. But if you do that, that means you're back to 8 conference games. So you only have 3 non-conference matchup, FBS matchup. You already have your Southern Heritage Guarantee game with Jackson State. It starts getting hard for Tennessee State to schedule multiple HBCUs, not including what they're able to do on their side. So it'll be fascinating to see how the sporting business of that move. I think it would have been more advantageous for at least Tennessee State, and even maybe in terms of travel distance, if you had a alliance between the Big South and OVC. We could maybe get a couple of those Tennessee State A&T games, Tennessee State Hampton games, and then obviously your natural Big South games in there. Wasn't to be, but it's fascinating to see how the conference churning continues to tick away. And we'll keep our eyes on seeing what that means in terms of the HBCUs involved in those conferences. Again, that'll do it for us. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. That's Inside HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. That's Inside HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you subscribe, particularly on YouTube. Like, share, and let's do what we do. Dream big and continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles?
Of course.
Mike?
Lecture.
Dismiss.